What's that? You need a cup of something? Cup of Joe?
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Cup of Joe with Mendo. Hopefully you got your cup of Joe, Mr. Malcolm Sweat.
Yes, sir.
All right. So thanks for joining me today. Special guest Malcolm. Mal is a former player of mine, current college player, played over in Europe and Spain. Great guy. Is now preparing for his fall season as a sophomore. And now that you're home, I'd love to discuss today pretty much how you're staying involved with preparing and getting ready for the fall. Even though we're many months away, it's difficult transition. So what have you been up to at home?
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me. And I've just basically been trying to work on my game in any way I can, mentally. This is a good time for me to take time for myself to just figure out what the kind of player I am. And I've just been kind of reflecting on that and trying to see what I can do to just make my mental aspect of my game better. And physically, I've been working outside. Always have to keep my touch clean. Been working with resistance bands, a little bit of weight here and there, but just keeping a good balance between school and playing soccer, and just trying to keep sane during these times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so how has it been? It's been, I'm sure, a big transition being at school, being in the classroom, being on the field, to now having to pick up and move back home. Semester is pretty much done. You have to finish it online. How has
Yeah,
that transition been from obviously no longer being on the field and in the classroom with professors?
yeah. Honestly, I've had a little bit of experience with this through my time in Spain. I was taking my senior year of high school online, so I have a little bit of experience with it. But it's been pretty good. Uh, Trying to help around the house, help my parents. So uh,
Good.
and yeah, grades seem to be good, and
Good. That's important.
working on myself.
Good. So what about from soccer? Having all the resources at a college program, not only
Yeah.
from a field, goals, cones, balls, gym. How is
Um,
that?
I've I've been making do with what I have, around the house, around me. I have a field. I'm lucky to have a field down the street. It's a nice grass pitch, and I luckily can bike over there if I want, or whatever the circumstance may be. But I can bring shoes, cones, use anything to make a dribbling drill, or do some shooting with a ladder that I have, or some speed training with the speed shoot that I use. So just implementing a lot of things, and yeah.
How about from the physical perspective? I know at the college level, it's big to be physically prepared, and that's something that I know in Europe, when you were there and I was there, physical preparation is massive. With and without the ball, and I know diet comes into that, but not having the gym of weights, and I know you
Yeah.
have a band and certain things, but how do you overcome that?
Well, like you said, I think diet's like a really important aspect. And through these times, even if you really aren't staying as active as you should be, I think that every player can really keep their game the way it is, or you know take this time to grow through eating well. And for me, that's been I've been looking into like a plant-based diet, and it's helped me a lot. I've probably been mostly plant-based for about 2 months now, and it's been pretty life-changing, actually. I feel energy and stuff that I really was kind of lacking before, or an awareness, like when I'm doing my exercises or in games. I feel like it's going to help me a lot. And I mean, as far as equipment goes, I have, just like everyone else, I feel like a limited amount of equipment. And for me personally, uh, I've been using resistance bands, like you said. I'm lucky enough to have like some weights here and there. I have some 30s, 20s, dumbbells, and a bar. So getting some squats, deadlifts, all that kind of stuff. Um, not focusing so much on the bodybuilding kind of movements, more
Right.
the soccer related movements that you would see in a game, the explosive lunge here and there, and that kind of stuff,
Right.
Um,
But mhm.
what do you think would be good for people with limited resources in these
Yeah.
times to
That's a
use?
good question, and that's something that just came to mind as you were saying that, because I know that being in a gym is obviously the ideal situation, and being at home, and not everyone has the luxury of having weights and bands, rings. So I think that there are ways from a non-weight perspective for agility, coordination, balance, explosiveness that can be used. I'm sure there are hundreds of activities online
Yeah,
that could be Googled, but that you don't need cones for, or technically a ladder for, or agility rings that could be done with shoes, rocks, just, pretty much anything you can find in a garage that could be an obstacle, could be
yeah,
something that could be used, even a string, hula hoop, um, that can be made into a circle or a box or something where you have to get your feet in and out of. I think that's always a good way. And then adding the ball piece is, the same type of idea, using the agility, coordination, balance, but then having the ball, and then maybe doing a finishing or a passing, first touch piece of that. From the
hmm
weight perspective, that's where it gets challenging. I would say that the same type of idea. It's what you have to implement. I'm big on body weight. I think that's huge, from pull-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, planks, squats. Anything like that could be great, and I think that's more important. Not to be, um, say, overly, stronger in areas that you don't need, but I think enough that can complement your game. Uh, if most people, if they have a garage, shed, basement, and you have things in storage, having, a broomstick with a bag on one end, bag on the other, with cans in it, or, old shoes that weigh a lot, stuff
yeah,
like that, even to work the motion of lifting and over your head. And I think
yeah,
things like that can work, you know um, and just to kind of improvise. You want to obviously use weight that's equalized, um, so that doesn't cause injury. But I think that there are plenty of things at home that can be used to work on strength. um,
totally, yeah,
so I mean, hopefully, you know, as viewers, this conversation can be taken to a whole nother level, and kind of be at home to find things to do to stay active. So now moving in, I mean, there's a few months obviously before you would have to report back to your preseason. And what do you plan to do moving forward? If we're still in quarantine, we're still at home. What do you plan to do?
that's an interesting question, because we actually have team workouts that we do 3 times a week. We have a basically an app that you log in, and you record what stuff you do, and they give you the exercises and everything, and it's pretty good. But other than that, a lot of, I mean, not that I really haven't been doing this my entire career, my entire time playing soccer, because the love that I have for it,
Right.
but also just to just having fun, really, to me is uh, the whole point, and what people should be using soccer for right now. Uh,
Right. No, that's an excellent point. I mean, I think it's when you have fun with it, it doesn't become almost like a job or a chore. And that's where I think
exactly.
the greatest development is.
Yeah.
So, I want to thank you, Mal, for joining me.
Thank you.
Hopefully our viewers can take away something from this and see what Malcolm is doing on his time to improve and adjust. So I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure I'll talk to you before the fall.
Of
We'll keep
course. Yeah.
pushing through, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mendo.
Thanks.
Wilson from